For almost 7 years, Elena Martinez moved quietly through the marble hallways of the Harrington Tower, the tallest, wealthiest, most untouchable corporate building in the city. Every morning at 5 a.m., she arrived before the executives, pushing her cleaning cart with soft steps, keeping her head down, and doing the job nobody respected but everyone depended on. She dusted offices where she wasn't allowed to speak, cleaned conference rooms where billion-dollar deals were made, and emptied trash cans filled with secrets richer people threw away without thinking. And in all those years, not a single person learned her name. To them, she was the maid, the cleaner, the help, or simply, "Hey, you." Some executives even talked around her like she was invisible, as if her presence didn't count as a pair of ears listening. But Elena listened. Oh yes, she listened. To every argument, every whispered plan, every nervous phone call, every careless confession spoken in rooms where people assumed no one else mattered. Over time, she came to understand something that frightened her more than poverty ever had. This building was rotten at the core. Powerful men made dangerous decisions in these rooms. They moved money like pieces on a board, paid off inspectors and politicians, silenced employees with NDAs, manipulated stocks, hid funds offshore, and bullied anyone who questioned them. Elena never planned to get involved. She had a sick mother to care for, and two younger siblings depending on her tiny paycheck. She just kept working and surviving until one night changed her entire life. That night, the building was supposed to be empty. Elena came in for an extra shift to earn more money for her mother's medication. Around midnight, she reached the top executive floor, the one place where she always felt a chill run down her spine. As she unlocked the glass door and stepped inside, she heard voices from the conference room low, angry, urgent. She froze. Executives at midnight? That never happened. Not unless something catastrophic was happening. Elena quietly stepped back behind a pillar. The door to the conference room was slightly open. Through that small gap, she saw the four most powerful men in Harrington Global: CEO William Harrington himself, CFO Jason Reeds, legal counsel Mariah Quinn, and operations chief Andrew Slate. They sat around the table with stacks of files, laptops, and a bottle of whiskey half empty. "We have to bury it," Harrington snapped, slamming a folder onto the table. "If the city finds out about this, we lose everything." Reeds hissed, "We already falsified the safety reports. If the housing project collapses or someone gets hurt—" "We'll settle quietly," Slate interrupted. "Just like last time. Money shuts people up." Elena's stomach clenched. She didn't understand everything, but she understood enough. They were hiding a crime. A huge one. Then she saw something she wasn't supposed to see. Documents showing millions diverted from the city's public housing budget, stamped with Harrington's signature. They were cutting corners, lying on reports, cheating the city, and putting families at risk. Elena's hands shook. She could run. She could pretend she heard nothing. She could protect herself. But then she remembered the faces of families living in dangerous, collapsing apartments. She remembered the news story of the playground that caved in last month. She remembered the old woman in her neighborhood who cried because the ceiling dripped water for years and no one fixed it. That's when the anger crystallized into something steady. Elena reached into her pocket and touched the tiny device she used to record notes for her mother. A small digital recorder she carried everywhere. Her breath trembled as she clicked it on. The soft red light glowed faintly. For the first time in her life, Elena captured something that could change everything. The recording caught their voices clearly. "We'll destroy anyone who talks. No one will ever know. We bought everyone we need. This stays between us. Understood?" Elena stopped breathing. She had evidence. Dangerous evidence. But as she turned to leave quietly, her elbow hit a metal trash bin. It clanged, loudly. The executives went silent. Then footsteps, fast, sharp, coming toward her. Elena's heart dropped. She sprinted down the hallway, her legs shaking, her breath burning. She turned the corner just as the conference door flew open behind her. "Who's out there?" Harrington shouted. "Who's listening?" Elena didn't look back. She ran faster than she had in years, down the stairwell, gripping the tiny recorder in her hand like it was her entire life. Because it was. By the time she reached the alley outside, she was drenched in sweat and shaking uncontrollably. She looked up at the glowing tower she had worked in for years, feeling the first real fear she'd ever felt in that place. Inside that recorder was their confession. Inside that tower were. Inside that recorder was their confession. Inside that tower were the people who would destroy her to keep it hidden. Elena realized something terrifying. For the first time in her life, they would notice her. And that's where her story truly begins. Elena leaned against the cold brick wall behind the building, trying to steady her breath. Her hands trembled so badly she could barely keep hold of the recorder. Every sound in the alley, a car passing, a distant horn, even the wind, felt like someone chasing her. She kept replaying the voices she had captured, those cold, arrogant words echoing inside her head. They didn't just steal money, they endangered lives. They sacrificed entire families for profit. And now the truth rested inside a device smaller than her palm. Her mind raced. What do I do? Who do I go to? Could she trust the police? The city? Anyone? If Harrington's people had bought inspectors, politicians, even lawyers, then who else were they controlling? She couldn't hand this recording to the wrong person. The wrong person would end her life before sunrise. Her heartbeat slowed just enough for her to think she couldn't go home. Not yet. If she did, she might lead them straight to her mother and siblings. She needed to disappear, at least for the night. She walked quickly, keeping her head low, keeping to the darkest parts of the street until she reached a small 24-hour diner. She stepped inside and slid into a booth at the very back, near a flickering lamp that cast long shadows on the table. The waitress looked at her with a tired but warm smile. Long night. Elena nodded silently. The waitress poured her a cup of coffee without asking. Elena wrapped her cold hands around the cup, letting the warmth calm her nerves, letting the steam help her breathe again. That's when the door of the diner opened, and two men in expensive suits walked in. Elena's heart almost stopped. She recognized them instantly. They were Harrington's private security. She had seen them escort executives into closed meetings before. These weren't normal security guards. They were the ones who handled quiet problems, the ones employees whispered about but never openly spoke of. She lowered her face, letting her hair fall forward. The men scanned the diner carefully, as if searching for someone. Elena held her breath. One of them lifted a photo on his phone, scrolling. She couldn't see who was in the picture, but her stomach twisted with dread. "It's me. They're already looking for me." The waitress approached them, asking, "Table for two?" One of the men shook his head, just checking something. He lifted his phone again, comparing faces in the diner. Elena slowly slid the recorder deeper into her coat pocket, hiding it under layers of fabric. Her pulse thudded in her ears. If they reached her booth, she would have no way out. She prayed silently that they wouldn't notice her shaking hands. Then, as the men turned slightly, Elena slipped off the booth seat and crouched low, pretending to adjust her shoelace. Her face stayed hidden by the table, her body pressed tightly against the wall. One wrong move, one glance, and everything would be over. After a long minute, the men exchanged a frustrated glance. "She must have run the other way," one muttered. "Boss wants her found tonight," the other replied. They left without ordering anything. The door chimed behind them. Elena waited a full 2 minutes before even raising her head. Her chest heaved with a mixture of fear and relief. But she knew one thing with absolute clarity. There was no going back. No normal shift tomorrow. No pretending she didn't know anything. No more being invisible. She pulled the tiny recorder from her pocket and held it tightly. That one recording was powerful enough to take down millionaires, expose a criminal conspiracy, and protect families across the city. But only if she used it right. Only if she survived long enough to bring it to the right hands. A silent maid had accidentally stumbled into $1 billion secret. But now, she wasn't just a maid anymore. She was a threat. And the powerful men inside Harrington Tower would stop at nothing to erase threats. Elena took a slow, steady breath. Her quiet life was officially over. Her real fight had just begun. Elena spent the rest of the night hiding in the diner, gripping the recorder like a lifeline. As the sky turned pale, she slipped out the back door and took the side streets home, her hood pulled low. She knew the executives would double their search in the morning. She had to move fast. At home, her mother was still asleep. Elena crept into her tiny bedroom and locked the door. She connected the recorder to her old laptop and played the audio again. Hearing their voices, cold, confident, untouchable, made her stomach twist. This stays between us. We'll destroy anyone who talks. Every word was proof, but proof was also danger. She sent a copy of the file to a